Hi everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Peter Huapi here at GameDay headquarters. You're watching our third GameDay Classic of the spring sports season. Every week we're going to be bringing you a rebroadcast of some of our favorite games from the past 7-8 years. The game this week is a particular favorite of ours. It's the 2014 ECC Boys Basketball Championship game, and the game was a little bit of a surprise. Back in 2014, New London and Ledyard were the big names in the league. They were seeded 1 and 2 in the tournament, and in the semifinals, they were upset by Norwich Free Academy and Woodstock Academy. In retrospect, it should not have been a big surprise to us. The game featured 2 of the members of our all-decade boys basketball team. On the Woodstock side, Chris Lowry, the great point guard, had already won a state title the year before when Woodstock won the CIAC Class L championship game over Notre Dame. Over Trinity Catholic. And on the other side, Marcus Outlow, one of the great football players we've seen, but also one of the great basketball players. Outlow had a great game in this championship game, went almost down to the wire. I think you're going to enjoy it. One note on the quality, because this game is back from the dark ages. We were broadcasting in standard def, so if the picture quality looks a little bit funny, I apologize for that. This was, at this point, 6 years ago, so our technology was not where it is now. But you don't want to hear from me anymore. Let me hand it over to our play-by-play team of Mark Brown and Casey O'Neill.
Welcome to the Sussman Shapiro pregame show on GameDay, live on theday.com. The ECC Boys Basketball Championship game, Woodstock Academy versus Norwich Free Academy from Waterford High School. And hello everyone, I'm Mark Brown alongside Casey O'Neill. And okay, so it's not the championship game that many expected. The 1 and 2 seeds are out. We've got 3 versus 4. But Casey, these two teams have earned their way with great performances on Wednesday and all year long. This sets up as a really competitive battle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only 2 teams that are not surprised that they're there, are the 2 teams that are playing tonight. If you ask Greg Smith and Chris Giusti, they believe they belong here, and that's evidenced by NFA being perhaps the hottest team down the stretch. And hey, we have a defending state champion out there, Woodstock Academy. So these 2 teams belong. They have very similar styles. They have very similar athletic ability and the kind of things. So I think this is going to be a very even tonight.
Absolutely. Regular season one on their home court. We're going to go down to the third member of our broadcast crew, Dave Edgecombe. Dave?
I'm here with Jessica Hopper, as always, the day's social media coordinator, and she'll be cluing you in on how you guys can stay in touch while watching at home.
You guys at home can take part in the conversation on social media tonight using the hashtag GameDayCT. You can also follow Day on Instagram and at TheDayCT.
And as always, we'll be updating throughout the game, so be sure to give us some good ones. I kind of am expecting something from R.J. Evans as well. Just saying. Mark, Casey?
All right, thanks, Dave. R.J. Evans has been a regular contributor from the other side of the pond, and we really appreciate that as well. Both these teams have a good balance about them. Have a look at our player to watch for NFA, and it's somebody that you might not expect. Our player to watch averages 5 points per game, but in the semifinals, he was enormous. Mike Ryan.
Yeah, Mike Ryan, he's what we call a garbage pail player. He does a little bit of everything, and in that semifinal game, he scored, which is what they. He's got a great touch around the basket. You don't notice him, but he can rebound. He runs the floor tremendously, which is very important. So Ryan does all the little things, but tonight he's a key. He's a second scoring option for them.
Now, Woodstock Academy has some stars, but some great balance as well. Their player to watch is a perimeter guy with a lethal shot. That's Trent Peters.
Peters is probably the best pure shooter in the Eastern Connecticut Conference. He can fill it up from anywhere, but don't sleep on him as an athlete. We saw last game him get up for some rebounds. He can defend. So even though he looks like he's 13 years old, he is a veteran leader on this team, and if you don't stay with him the whole way, give him an inch, he can get that shot off, and he is a very difficult matchup for NFA.
All right, you mentioned athlete. There'll be no better athlete on the floor tonight than Marcus Outlow. And much of NFA's success this year can be attributed to the senior guard, Outlow, who's responsible for a pair of buzzer-beating three-pointers this season, including one in the ECC quarterfinals.
Marcus has been great all season long. You know, he's had a long season in terms of the amount of punishment that his body has had to endure, starting with football in August, and now we're in March.
You know, all my life, I've been very confident in taking shots like that, you know, to either tie the game or win the game. Waterford, quarterfinal game, they played an excellent defense. Probably one of the best defensive efforts I've seen all year. I have this sweet spot on the court, you know, it's the right wing. When I'm there and I can get to that spot, you know, it's tough for people to, I would say, to guard me. So, you know, when I hit that shot, you know, it was just great for the team, and it's what we needed, you know, to advance to, you know, last night with the semis.
He wants the shot. He's not afraid to take the big shot. He's confident in his jump shot, and that's something that he's worked to improve over the course of his career. He came in as more of the type of scorer that drove to the basket and scored by driving and slashing, and he's kind of evolved into more of a jump shooter, and he's extended his range where he's become a very good three-point shooter. So he's confident, and when a player is playing with confidence, the basket looks bigger, and the moment doesn't become too big for them.
We felt like we were the only team left that could beat Ledger in the tournament, so you know, we came out there, everyone played tough, everyone played a great game. It was a total team effort. We executed the game plan very well. We knew that it was going to be a battle. We were looking forward to it. Ever since we lost here, you know, we won 6 straight. Just being there last year and not being able to get it done, and then having the same opportunity this year, you know, same scenario, beating Ledger, and then we have a team in Woodstock. I have tremendous respect for Woodstock, you know, their coach, you know, their coaches, I would say, their players. It would mean a lot, especially that we have a whole bunch of unfinished business to get done. You know, we're hungry for that ECC championship. Whoever executes their game plan better and plays tougher defense and knocks down the most shots is definitely going to win.
So now you know Marcus Outlow. When the Sussman Shapiro pregame show returns, we'll introduce you to Woodstock's point guard extraordinaire, Chris Lowry, as we get ready for the ECC championship game on Game Day, live on theday.com. Welcome back to the Sussman Shapiro pregame show. It's Game Day live on theday.com. Woodstock Academy and NFA moments away from the ECC boys basketball championship game. Though he comes from a small town, Chris Lowry seemed destined from a young age to be a basketball star at Woodstock Academy.
When Chris's older brother Brian played for us, I was the assistant coach at the time, and Chris was this little 7-year-old that would go out every time there was a timeout. He'd go out on the floor and shoot. At halftime, he'd go out and shoot. Before the game, he'd be shooting. After the game, he'd be shooting. He'd be sitting on my daughter's lap in the stands, cheering his brother on.
I'm from Union, only 700 kids there. I didn't even go to their middle school because there were only 70 people for kindergarten through 8th grade. So I kind of had to do everything myself. I just dribbling the ball in the house, everywhere I go, upstairs, downstairs, go out into the driveway and shoot for hours. You know, I remember going out to my driveway at 1 in the morning and just shooting baskets until my neighbors had to come over and tell me to stop playing.
When he came here as a freshman, we were so excited to have him and knew that this was something very, very special. And he hasn't disappointed. He is the best point guard in the state of Connecticut, bar none. And I know I'm not making friends with even people in the ECC when I say that, but I defy anybody to give me anybody better, anybody that can control a game like Chris Lowry can. We went to Springfield and played Putnam Votech from Springfield, Massachusetts, best team in Massachusetts. And they're designed their defense to make Chris Lowry turn the ball over, and they couldn't do it. He only had 3 turnovers in that game. You know, last game he had 16 assists and 1 turnover. That's unbelievable. And he could score if he wanted to. He doesn't want to. He wants to make the players around him better. Now, I'll tell this story about a team player for the rest of my coaching career. I told him after his sophomore year that he needed this many points. He needed to average about this many points to break the school scoring record. And he said, Coach, I don't care. I don't care about that. I want to win. I just want to put W's up. I want to hang banners up. That's Chris Lowry. He just wants to do whatever's going to make the team better.
So that's going to do it for the Sussman Shapiro pregame show. It's time for the ECC Boys Basketball Championship game. Starting lineups and the opening tip are coming up on Game Day, live on theday.com.
The following is a presentation of The Day.
Ball scrambling around, and that's going to do it. NFA, the 4 seed, has stunned Ledyard.
The funny thing happened on the way to the ECC Basketball Championship game between Ledyard and New London.
Can't hit at the buzzer.
They both lost.
And Woodstock Academy has avenged last year's semifinal loss at the hands of New London.
Which leaves us with a most improbable final. A pair of party crashers who are playing their best basketball at a most auspicious time.
Lowry, good look at the three, and he buries it.
It's Woodstock Academy, the self-described farm boys who can take their act to the city.
Peters, big three.
It's NFA and their hotter-than-July guard, Marcus Outlow.
Here's Outlow. He's feeling it.
It's the ECC Championship game. Woodstock.
Bourgeois hits a three.
NFA.
Oh, he muscles it up and in.
Game Day next.
This is Game Day live on theday.com, and welcome to Waterford High School as Woodstock Academy and Norwich Free Academy battle in the ECC Boys Basketball Championship game. And hello everyone, I'm Mark Brown along with Casey O'Neill, and we've arrived at one of those moments in the athletic lives of these young men who go out there on the court tonight chasing a championship. It'll be a night that they'll never forget. How will they remember it? Well, that's what we're going to find out, how they perform tonight, the memories they take away from it. But the bottom line is, this matters to these kids, and this is going to be an incredibly competitive event.
I mean, you got someone like Marcus Outlow. He's about to go off and play Division I college football at Boston College. But this could be the last basketball championship atmosphere that he plays in. And he's one of the most competitive kids in the world, and nothing replaces high school sports, but high school basketball, it's Americana, and you do remember these events for the rest of your lives. These kids will forever be linked by these teams, by these moments, and these are the kinds of things that sort of transcend sports. It's the moments that we as people, we love these moments, and there's going to be some tonight.
Yeah, but how we get a result here will depend on the keys to the game, and we've got those for you, presented by Geico. Casey, let's start with NFA. What do they need to do?
Well, they need a repeat performance. They've got to defend Lowry the way they did when they defended Ledyard's Deontay Bruton in the second half and make sure that he doesn't, go wild tonight. They got to keep their guys on the floor. Desmond Delia Miller was in foul trouble. They need his scoring. He's their number one guy. And then they got to feed the horse. That's Marcus Outlow. We talked about him. Get him the ball as many times as possible. Let him create. Let him be the best player on the floor.
As for Woodstock, what's their keys?
They got to handle the prosperity. We saw them have just abysmal time at the foul line with very good foul shooters. Points against NFA are tough to come by. They need to make those foul shots. You know what? Bring the kryptonite. If Marcus Outlow is Superman, and he has been that in this tournament, perhaps the only way is if they open up that kryptonite. And then they got to do the little in and outs. They got to get Lowry into the lane where he can kick it out to shooters. That's where Peters is most dangerous, and that's where Woodstock will find its most success.
Let's move now to the starting lineups presented by Philomena's Restaurant. Norwich Free Academy, they rely greatly on Delia Miller and Outlaw for their scoring, but Delia Miller was saddled in foul trouble in the semifinals. They survived.
Yeah, and what it allowed him to do is it allowed role players like point guard Ramel Williams and center Mike Ryan, along with Ebo Rivera, John Morrison off the bench, but it allowed role players to step in. This is a true team, is NFA.
And a look at Woodstock's lineup. Every guy on this team in the starting lineup averages between 8 and 14 points a game. Great balance.
The guy to watch is Will Bourgeois. He can do a lot of things. He's a tough matchup. It'll be interesting to see if Outlow tries to guard Lowry or if he tries to guard Bourgeois.
Time now for the national anthem.
to see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So Woodstock, the number 3 seed, will be wearing their home whites with the blue and gold trim. And NFA will be in their road reds with the white trim. Great crowd. However, Woodstock, they on this, but they've got a long trek down 395 to get to Waterford. And Norwich a little closer.
A fleet of John Deere tractors heading down 395 tonight.
Somebody had to say it. Ebo Rivera will jump it up for NFA against John McGinn. McGinn taps it twice, and Woodstock will have it to open the ECC championship game.
NFA opens in man-to-man, and it is Outlow trying to guard Lowry. That is a great matchup to keep your eyes on. Delia Miller on Bourgeois, another great one, and Ramel Williams is on Peters. Let's see if Peters with a little size advantage can get over the top.
And a turnover to open things up. Lowry was looking for Bourgeois on the cut, and they couldn't make the connection. Ramel Williams sets the offense for NFA.
Woodstock likes to go zone. Looks like they're opening up in that to start with. A little rotating zone. Hard to tell if it's 2-3 or 1-2-2. Going to challenge NFA to shoot from the outside. Only Outlow, the real outdoor threat for the Wildcats.
And a tremendous threat at 42% from beyond the arc. He's hit well over 50 on the season. So patience from NFA, which is to be expected.
If Woodstock's going to be in a zone, then this is going to be a very low-scoring basketball game.
Delia Miller somehow gets in there. Ryan had it blocked from behind. It'll remain NFA ball underneath.
Delia Miller is a very difficult matchup. He can get to the basket versus almost anybody. And there you saw Ryan, Johnny on the spot. He was very aware. Woodstock really needs to limit that penetration.
Delia Miller's wide up in the corner. But they turn it over. Outlaw, though, takes it back in the competition with Bourgeois. Outlaw in transition. Hits a three. He hit 3 almost just like that in the semifinals on the way to 24 points.
You know, people respect him as if he's going to go to the basket, but he likes that pull-up 3 as much as any shot in his arsenal.
Here's Lowry. His coach, Greg Smith, calls him the best point guard in the state. Bourgeois' 3 won't go. Rivera the rebound.
Nice box out by Rivera. One and done.
Delia Miller turns it over. Joe McGinn comes up with a loose ball. Trent Peters. Quick release on the 3. Long rebound to Outlaw. He'll rise and fire again. Back-to-back threes for Marcus Outlaw.
Peters looked over at his bench and said, "What do you want me to do, coach? I was in his face." Nothing you can do. If Marcus Outlaw is going to make those, you are in for a long night.
Bourgeois on the drive. Rebound Ryan. Corner 3 this time. Oh. Are you kidding me? Marcus Outlow. A one-man wrecking ball right now.
Dare I say it, en fuego. The color red burning bright on the Wildcats.
5:27 to go in the first quarter, and the score is Marcus Outlow 9, Woodstock Academy 0, and rightly so, Greg Smith uses his first timeout.
That is the equivalent of waiting and anticipating and getting hit with a right cross right off the bat. Woodstock right now is on the canvas. They're up quick, and let's find out how they're going to get back into this thing. They got to let Lowry create, but the Outlow matchup with him is a fantastic matchup.
Anytime you hype a player as much as we do and did Marcus Outlow, you run the risk of overstating his impact. Can he do it every night? He's just come out and he's proven what we said was underselling what he does out there on the basketball floor.
You know, he is not only a great athlete, he is, he's a competitor, and competitors like him come up big in big spots.
So out of the timeout, we'll see what Woodstock Academy can do. Down 9-0 early. Adam Converse knocked away by Rivera. Been great defensive sets for NFA to start this game, and Delia Miller traveled on the drive.
You know, something to mention is that Woodstock didn't really play well in their semifinal against New London. We talked about that. They had a lot of turnovers. They were out of sync offensively for a large portion of the game. It was some threes by Peters that got them back into it. So right now, they're also not sharp, but let's see if they can come back against NFA.
Converse operating in the lane. Left-hand jump hook will go. McGinn, the offensive rebound, finds Converse, who finally puts Woodstock Academy on the board.
Well, you know Woodstock's gutty, you know they're gritty, and you know they're going to stick around. They're a veteran team. They're a state champion team. They're not going to stop battling.
Outlow from NBA three-point range. There's the heat check again. Nope, he's not going to hit them all, just most of them.
He had a license plate in his face where he shot that from.
Here's Peters. On the drive this time. Boy, the interior defense for NFA has been great. Here's Converse. Banks it in. He's got a couple hoops now.
Great look from Bourgeois. Bourgeois is a tough matchup. He's physical and strong and can get to the basket. If Outlow is on Lowry, then that means Bourgeois got the smaller Delia Miller. He's long as Delia Miller, but Bourgeois got the size on him.
So here is Peters. He'll guard Delia Miller. Rivera in the corner. Up front. Williams running the point. He will shoot a lot. He'll look to set up the weapons on this NFA side.
Looks like NFA's going, Woodstock's going box and one. Box and one with Bourgeois guarding Outlow. I think it was only a matter of time before we started seeing some box and one. And that's an easy way to break it.
Ebo Rivera shooting the jump shot. And now the quick foul in the post on the entry to Adam Converse. Rivera will pick up his first foul.
Well, the way that we saw box and one from New London the other night against Woodstock, the way to beat that box is to get into the soft underbelly, which they did with Ebo Rivera. And if he can knock down jump shots, that'll make NFA even more effective.
Bourgeois, the drive blocked by Delia Miller. But he was out of bounds when he tried to save it into a friend, so it will remain Woodstock ball underneath. By the way, that Rivera foul, the first of the game for either team. We're over halfway through the first quarter. Converse off the inbounds. Converse has all 6 points for Woodstock Academy.
Yeah, he's a good scorer with a nice touch inside the paint, uses the backboard well. No real answer for him if he gets in deep like that.
In the second half of the season, he's become the primary scorer for Woodstock Academy, leading with 14.5 points per game. Bourgeois 13.5, and Lowry leading assist man, averaging 12.4. Here's Outlow crossing over and the drive. Foul called on the floor. And that'll go against Will Bourgeois, his first.
Woodstock is doing some interesting things defensively right now. They're kind of rotating between a hard box and one that kind of often then drifts out. Peters extends onto Delia Miller, so he's not in the true box, but that's essentially what they're playing right now.
That's Mike Ryan's first hoop. Off the inbound, he had 15 in the semifinal victory over Ledyard.
Woodstock's Greg Smith right now has to think, what are we going to do? If Outlow's going to make three-pointers and then the NFA bigs are going to make 15-foot shots, where do you play?
Joe McGinn. Ebo Rivera just denies him and then ties him up. Held ball And the arrow goes to NFA, who's got the 13-6 lead.
There are some really great matchups going on right now with similarly built and similarly athletic players. It's a fascinating thing to watch because these guys are playing like mirror images of themselves.
D'Elia Miller blocked up top by Converse, but a foul. Oof.
I don't know.
That looked pretty good up top.
A completely different D'Elia Miller than what we saw in the semifinals. He was much more passive in the semifinals. A very aggressive D'Elia Miller, getting to the basket the last few times he's touched the ball.
He is the best free throw shooter for the Wildcats, averaging 71% from the line. He has the first. Saddled with foul trouble. Might have played the equivalent of a little more than a quarter based on that foul trouble. Only had 4 points. Now has 2 free throws to push the lead back up to 9, matches their largest after starting the game on a 9-0 Marcus Outlow run.
Got 2 very active student sections here as well.
Nice look inside. McGinn. Chance for a 3-point play. Contact from Rivera. Basket is good. And now Ebo Rivera, who has been such a force defensively, has picked up his second foul.
Yeah, we'll see Brandon Drabinski get into the game, and he had some very good minutes for them in the semifinal win over Ledyard. Different kind of player, not as athletic in the vertical as Rivera is, but a very good fundamental player and a good athlete himself is Drabinski.
John McGinn at the free throw line. Can't complete the 3-point play. Well, we're going to get another free throw.
Folks, again, we tested the other evening. Someone up there has an air horn. You have to.
Someone in the NFA student section has an air horn.
So
they're saying let's not have that.
So a retry at that and one. And he missed again. Drabinski's first rebound. Ramel Williams. Drabinski, Mike Ryan, and a travel.
I love we got the Woodstock student section all decked out in yellow, the NFA student section all decked out in red. No one is in their seats from either student section. We could have over 1,700 people in attendance.
McGinn might have been better off shooting that, but a wide open Peters missing the 3. Here comes D'Elia Miller.
That's 2 misses for Peters now.
Ryan missed from close range, rebound to Peters. Here comes Lowry in the open court. Wants to drive to his left. Missed it badly.
Very physical defense.
D'Elia Miller lays it in.
Lowry does not like the physical defense that Outlaw is playing.
Bourgeois. And he draws a foul on the power-up. And the foul will go against Desmond D'Elia Miller. His first.
Bourgeois, very good athlete. We know he's very aggressive. Really only has 1 speed, and that's full forward.
6 feet, very strongly built, plays much bigger than that 6-foot listing.
Yeah, when they told us he had 12 rebounds, I thought they mixed the numbers around. It felt like more like 21 in that semifinal game. He was just getting every rebound in sight.
14 points as well. All 5 Woodstock starters were in double digits in that victory over New London in semifinal number 1. 7-point lead for NFA with the basketball. They landed the haymaker to start it with the 3 consecutive Outlaw threes for a 9-0 lead. It's moderated a bit, but still in charge, NFA. Mike Ryan, second hoop of the game, leads back up to 9 inside a minute to go in the first.
Yeah, he's very comfortable down there underneath. Really has a good awareness of where the basket is.
Jump hook wouldn't go for Converse. Oh, what a pass from Williams, and D'Elia Miller nearly dunked it down. He does get it to go.
Little guy threads the needle, and D'Elia Miller throws it down.
Largest lead of the game, double digits for the first time. Lowry turns it over. 20 seconds to go. And Chris Giusti tells his team he wants one shot.
What a first quarter for NFA, a team that's getting more and more comfortable scoring in a higher number of points.
Outlow takes measure of it from on top. Still a second to go. Second bite at the apple, and Outlow couldn't hit that, but an outstanding first quarter of play. NFA could not have drawn it up any better. They've got the 21-10 lead as we get ready to start the second quarter in the ECC Boys Basketball Championship game. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Julia Bergman, the Day's defense reporter, just taking a break from week 7, I think it's week 7, of work from home to thank those of you who have supported us so far, either by donating to our local news fund or by subscribing, and to ask that those of you who haven't yet, please consider doing so if you're able. So work from home for me has meant a lot of interviews by phone in my pajamas. I actually put on real clothes specifically for this video message. But I've covered much more than military stories during the coronavirus pandemic. I was able to track down the story of a 13-year-old teenager in New London who recovered from COVID-19 after spending several days at Yale New Haven Hospital, including some time in the ICU. I covered the story of a family who was stuck overseas in Peru as a result of global travel restrictions a little bit earlier on during the outbreak. I've also covered the story of the engineering department at the Coast Guard Academy, working to find the best recipe, as they call it, for 3D printed masks. So while the Day's reporters are not out in the community much right now, we are still working hard to tackle the myriad of angles that are coming from this pandemic. We welcome your feedback, your suggestions, your story ideas. And again, thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to the ECC Championship game from Waterford High School. On Game Day Live on theday.com, Mark Brown along with Casey O'Neill and Dave Edgecombe helping us out on the sidelines as well. Well, we expected a tough and tight battle. So far, it's been one-sided. NFA has been brilliant.
And I think Marcus Outlow, I mean, you said it before, sometimes when you hype someone up as much as we do with Marcus, it's impossible for them to perform. But not only did he come out and score the first 9 points of the game, I think it's defense and the physical nature that he's playing Chris Lowry right now that's held Woodstock to those 10 points.
Lowry might have an assist or two, no points. Here's Converse working in the post, left-hand jump hook. Converse has 8 of the 12 Woodstock Academy points.
I love big guys that can go off with both hands on either side of the basket, and a nice touch from Converse.
Converse is a junior, by the way, the only junior in the starting lineup for the Centaurs.
Player to watch next year for sure.
Ramel Williams gets it to D'Elia Miller. Draws 2 defenders. Drabinski open, and he traveled. Let's go down to Dave Edgecombe. Dave?
Guys, Coach Smith in the huddle after the first quarter had one thing to say to his team at first. Guys, that was the worst quarter of basketball we've played all year. And he let it sink in, and then he said, we're not going to play another one, but guys, it starts with stops. Let's see, that's a big one right there. Let's see if they can get it going on offense now. Mark?
All right, thanks very much, Dave. And yeah, this is not a good time to have your worst quarter of the year. That's for sure, the ECC Championship game. Peters drops it for Bourgeois. Up fake and power up. How about the rise on Bourgeois?
He's got some ups. He can jump out of the gym. That was a big loss for them last year. They won a state championship despite his injury. Earlier in the year, he got nicked up again, but he's fully healthy, and you see it in that play.
Matched up on Outlow here. Outlow into the lane. Hangs and hits. That's his first one from inside the arc. Tonight, he's got 11.
They're going to need him to continue to score. NFA has been prone to scoring droughts. We saw that in a couple of times this year. He needs to kind of be the stopper to get them points.
Trent Peters gives to Converse. Open look, catch and shoot. Bourgeois hits. Little bit of a comeback here. Little 6-2 mini run, but they're still down 7. D'Elia Miller. Ryan. Oh, he's been so aggressive in the semis and the final. He's got 6.
Woodstock just not doing a good enough job making NFA earn points. Too many easy shots.
They're a switch now as Ramel Williams is guarding Lowry. Lowry looking to take him to the hole. Finds McGinn. McGinn lost it on the way up. It's been stout defense inside by the Wildcats. D'Elia Miller challenges and draws the foul.
You know, you already saw right there. First time Outlow didn't guard Lowry. Lowry got right to the basket and was able to pass for what should have been a good scoring opportunity.
Well, NFA going to the bench. Well, Adam Converse has picked up his second foul on that D'Elia Miller drive, so that's certainly worth noting. He's their leading scorer and leading scorer in the game.
One thing that Woodstock does not have is a lot of depth in the size.
So we've got some substitutes coming in as Converse will come out. And Kyle Duthorn, number 14, checks in for the Centaurs. Also, NFA has gone to their bench to John Morrison, who played a key role off the bench with D'Elia Miller's foul trouble in the semifinals. Contributed 9 points in a great floor game.
Very athletic team on the floor right now for NFA, with adding Morrison, who can score. On the other side of things, Woodstock with the smallest team it will have.
Lowry the drive, and he gets fouled. Chris Giusti says, where was it?
Hand check on Outlow. You know, Greg Smith has put a lot of pressure on the back of this young man, Chris Lowry, by calling him the best point guard in the state of Connecticut. After the ECC semifinals, in a game that Lowry didn't play very well. I mean, he wasn't terrible, but he did not play his best game. I think he'd say that. Smith stuck to his guns and said he's the best player, and the proof is he just wins. Doesn't matter. Even when it's ugly, he just wins. Well, he's going to have to take on a much bigger role in this game if Woodstock, he's going to have to earn that reputation that his coach believes in.
No question. Here's Outlow. Rises and fires again. So after the 3 straight threes, he's missed a few from beyond the arc.
But he's right back at guarding Lowry again.
John McGinn going at Ryan and draws the foul on Ryan.
That's a smart offensive play by Greg Smith. I love going against Ryan, try to get Ryan out of this game and get the size differential down a little bit. Plus, foul shots are a good way of getting points to get back in the game.
So McGinn back at the line. Had a chance to complete a three-point play and couldn't on his previous trip. Now 3 points in the game for the senior. Both he and Converse are excellent field goal percentage shooters, taking shots from close to the basket. They have not had nearly their normal effectiveness as far as percentage is concerned tonight against that tough NFA interior defense.
Yeah, it's a real advantage Woodstock has with so many guys on the floor that can do so many different things.
And a blocking foul. Basket's gonna count. And a chance for a three-point play. Well, D'Elia Miller is really making up for his lost opportunity in the semifinals with the foul trouble. He's already in double digits.
You know, we saw after the semifinal win, when Outlow and the teammates were all being interviewed, Marcus called him out in a very positive way. He said, you know what, my man here did not have his best game. He knows that, but he'll be back. And you could see D'Elia Miller nodding his head like, yeah, just, can't wait to get another opportunity. You can see he is playing much more aggressively tonight.
10 points for him, 11 for Outlow. The two leading scorers for this NFA squad have stepped up. 21 of the 29 Wildcat points. Somehow that didn't go down. The tip back does. Bourgeois gets his own miss, but again, a brilliant pass from Lowry to set it up.
Great backdoor cut by Bourgeois. The two guys have played together so long. They didn't even look at each other, but they knew where the other was.
Halfway through the second quarter, still an 8-point lead for NFA. Loose on the baseline. It will stay with the Wildcats. Ramel Williams coming back into the game for Norwich Free Academy, replacing John Morrison, so a quick stint for the 5'11 junior Morrison. Outlow gives it back to Williams.
Bourgeois chasing Outlow.
Here's Duthorn. He has no numbers. He's going to go against 3 or 4 defenders and travel.
I don't know how. Wow. Aggressiveness not rewarded that time. He tried to get to the basket. I think that's either got to be a jump ball or a foul. I don't know how you call him for walking. He walked because the ball was tied up.
Coming up on 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Outlow gives it up. Now it's D'Elia Miller. Been very aggressive getting to the basket here. That's what he loves to do.
Bourgeois absolutely working, chasing Outlow all over the perimeter.
Oh, it's a real miscommunication there. D'Elia Miller was calling a timeout, turned to the official, Dave Cruz, and at that very moment, Ramel Williams was throwing him a pass, nearly turned it over. So Outlow, who started this game at a 9-0 personal run to start it with 3 consecutive threes, has missed his last 4 3-point attempts. So it's leveling out just a bit, but his team still has that advantage, 9.
Yeah, game's essentially tied off the 9-0 run of Outlow. But more than the 9 points, it was the first assertion of authority, the first, sticking the flag into the ground, if you will. Outlow came out and said, I am not going to be shy in this thing, and he made a statement right off the bat. The two teams have been even since then, but clearly that was an absolute, must for NFA for that kind of a start.
So 3:11 to go, the gym's packed at Waterford High School.
A little YMCA going on right now.
Never gets old.
No, it got old a long time ago, actually. Very positive, though. A very positive person.
And an illegal screen. That's the second foul on Mike Ryan.
Going to see big Nick Crooks into the ball game, senior center for NFA. That's the foul that's going to be the one to look at, the Ryan foul, because they may have to sit him the rest of the half.
So we'll see how Crooks and Drabinski can handle. Well, there's now just 2 big men.
That's how.
But it's the medium-sized guy who's been getting it done inside, that being Will Bourgeois, breaking it down from the top. He's now got 10 points. Ramel Williams, another beautiful pass, and a travel before the shot going up. Williams with 4 assists tonight already, 3 for Lowry.
I think Coach Giusti might have to go back to either Ryan or Rivera here, because the Drabinski-Crooks combination, not shot blockers and not offensive threats, which really limits what NFA can do.
Here's Lowry, hesitation move, sets up Bourgeois. Now it's Trent Peters, has not scored in the first half. He's had a couple early open looks, but that's it. Lowry, pull up, and hits.
That's what we're talking about. Big time players have to take the game over in certain spots.
4-point game. They've trailed by 11 on a couple of occasions, has Woodstock Academy.
This is not a good offensive team on the floor right now for NFA. Either Outlow outside or D'Elia Miller to the basket, nothing else. 9-2 run for the Centaurs.
1:40 to go in the first half. Deliberate offense here. Drabinski at the high post. Goes to the basket.
Well, Brandon Drabinski must have heard me, and he said, I can score. He's a good athlete, only a junior. Good instincts with the basketball.
Lowry, another hesitation move. Takes Outlow to the basket and puts it in off the window. Second hoop of the game, 6 points for Lowry.
Chris Lowry trying to reward his coach's faith in him up against Outlow. That was a very good move. He's playing a little more aggressively now, getting to the basket.
See if he gains some confidence from that.
Centaur Nation is the chant of the Woodstock Academy.
D'Elia Miller A whirling move in the lane.
That'll quiet a crowd in a hurry. Delia Miller, athletic with the left hand.
Back to a 6-point game. 40 seconds to go in the first half. Great hustle play by Delia Miller. Has trouble with the handle for Bourgeois. Here's Lowry.
Yeah,
Two screens high.
They really need to look for Peters. Get him an open look.
Bourgeois short on the three. 20 seconds to go. 6-point lead for NFA. They'll take the last shot.
Yeah, go into the half. No worse than 6-point up. Rely on your defense in the second half.
It's Williams with it. 8 on the clock. Delia Miller. Drabinski in the lane. And the rebound from Peters will bring an end to the second quarter. High intensity ECC boys basketball championship game here at Waterford High School. It was the quick start for Norwich Free Academy. They led 9-0 early and have never trailed. Let's go to Dave Edgecombe with head coach Chris Giusti.
Coach, you guys came out hot. They've had all kinds of success down low. What do you guys got to do interiorly in your defense to kind of stop that?
We got to play better help side defense. Help side defense is not what it should be, but you got to give a lot of credit to Woodstock. And I knew at the quarter break they weren't going to quit, and we were in for a battle here in the second half. It's going to be a good one.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks for watching Game Day. We are at halftime of the 2014 ECC Boys Basketball Championship game, and a halftime interview with a young Chris Giusti. We were all pretty young back then, were we not, Casey O'Neill?
Oh, Peter, I'll tell you, looking back to 2014, it doesn't seem like 6 years ago. I got a little grayer. Coach decided to go with the classic beard look that we know now, and the guys we have on the call, some of them were baby faces, and now quarantine life is staring us in the face in the form of Rivera, who doesn't want to take his hat off because he said it's just shaggy underneath. Ramel Williams, who's got more hair on his face than he's ever had in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Outlow, who's looking, I mean, clearly, you got to keep it tight. Mike Miller's called all the way from Mike Ryan's called all the way from Wyoming, and wins hands down best man beard. Look, that thing is glorious. Your beard is like Coach Giusti's outfit. It's glorious.
Hey, I appreciate that.
And joining us, a thin and ready to almost to his fighting weight, Mike DeMoro. Mike looks like he's ready. Mike looks like he's ready to go run the New York Marathon. I like that, Mike.
I can't be fat forever, Kate.
I beg to differ. I'm not so sure. Well, guys, listen, it's great to have you. This is our third Game Day Classic, and this was a game. A lot has changed in Game Day in those 6 years. You look at Mark Brown was our play-by-play guy at the time. He's moved on. He works for ESPN, and I was doing color. Of course, this is what we call PD, pre-doctor. The sports doctor was not with us as of yet, so it was a different crew, and we all were a little younger. But the one thing that stands out for me was the energy in the building at Waterford was there that night. Maybe when you look back now, it was the start. Game Day started with Chris Dunn. It sort of blossomed with, during the Mikey Bassetto and Dev Ostrowski days, and it's at its peak now. But this era right here is perhaps maybe a little bit of a forgotten era. Woodstock was really good. State champions. Chris Lowry, wins a national championship in college. Bourgeois and Converse and Peters. This was a good team. And you guys coming in as the 4 seed, playing maybe your best basketball, it all seemed to come together in Coach Chris Giusti's first year. Juice, did you think it was always going to be so easy?
I mean, basketball is a game of momentum, and as during the broadcast, I'm texting with these guys, and the great thing you see is that we still all are in touch with each other and we love each other, and this is fun for us. So big shout out to Game Day for having us. This is how we are all the time. These guys come back to practices and around the community. We're all in town except for Mike now, but Mike was here during the season as well. And we went on during the broadcast while I got a chance to watch some of it. They said that we were one of the hottest teams, running off a bunch of wins, and we beat Woodstock in the senior night game, close to, I think it was game 19. And we started getting a lot of momentum. But the real big game that I think, we have to mention and is that Ledyard game that when we beat Ledyard, remember that Ledyard team goes on to the Double L semifinals that year. Maybe the best Ledyard team that Coach Cornish has had. So this team just gelled at the right time. And, Marcus hit some big shots for us, but everybody else did the work that they needed to do. Like Ramel had 8 assists and no turnovers in this game. Coach Camp is texting me, he's the elementary school principal in Norwich now. He was my JV coach at the time. He said, Ramel is just playing a great game. He's a former point guard who's, played college ball. And, Mike Ryan had huge games in these tournaments. He had 15 points and 8 rebounds against Ledyard. He had 10 points and 8 rebounds against Woodstock. And Ledyard had Darnay Gray. And Woodstock had the big kids, Converse and McGinn. Ebo's doing all the dirty work. And Desmond, you see, like, his speed, that really impressed me. I would say I kind of remember a lot of this game, but what really popped off watching that first half was Desmond's speed, and he really had a tremendous game for us.
I think it's important to note, that there were multiple players in this tournament that went on to incredible college basketball success. DeAndre Bruton is an all-time college player. Lowry wins a national championship in college. And when we were setting this call up, I was looking at the names, and I know Ebo, you went on and played, and I know that, we think back and we think about Marcus starting off and hitting those threes. That's what I remember about the game. But watching that first half, there was a play where Ramel threaded the needle to Miller for the dunk, and I had forgotten how you guys weren't a real scoring team per se, but I forgot you guys turned it up and were maybe more athletic than I remember. Ramel, that game right there for you was kind of, I think, maybe a coming out party for you. That team was a bunch of different parts, but I mean, you might have played a perfect first quarter in that game. What do you remember looking back at the ECC championship game?
Yeah, it's funny because going in, I actually wasn't feeling well. I was under the weather. I didn't go to practice the day before. I ended up watching on the sideline. So coach was nervous, like, are you all right? I told him I was straight. So I went in there, not feeling well. But to me, I don't know. I mean, I just went along with my teammates' energy, It was the environment. I love environments where it's sold out crowds and hyped. So, I just went with the flow.
Now, while you were saying that, Marcus just shot 4 more times.
Always.
Now, Marcus, we kid because you're easy. You were kind enough and humble enough to say, yeah, you bricked a few, but those first threes to start the game, I think you guys go up 9-0. I mean, it's a whole different game, and I really do think you played maybe a perfect first quarter, Coach, as a whole. Marcus, what was the mentality as the leader of that team going into that game, and what do you think back now watching it, that hot start you had?
Yeah, I think for me, and I think from my brothers as well, that were on that team and a part of that team. For us, it was just we were counted out. I felt like so many times. We were. We played together since we were 6th graders, and we were already battle tested. We've been in hectic environments. We've been knocked down. We've had a lot of trials and tribulations. Outside of the NFA basketball court. So when it came to the camaraderie as far as playing for NFA basketball, we were already battle hardened and ready to go. So for us, we loved the environment. We loved the big atmosphere. We loved we loved the doubt. We kind of fed off people kind of counting us out, I would say. So for me as the leader of the team and, kind of, having that role, just keeping our guys sharp, keeping our guys refreshed, and just kind of reminding, our guys that we have nothing to lose. I know for me personally, I came out there in pregame and my legs were a little shot just from the Ledger game a couple of nights ago.
Sure.
And, I was really struggling that pregame, trying to find my shot and trying to get my legs underneath me. So for me, I kind of was trying to tune all that stuff out, continue to stay hydrated. And I remember going into the locker room earlier than normal for pregame just to kind of, remove myself from the atmosphere and give my legs a break. But to be honest with you guys, I didn't really feel like, I was, confident with my shot coming into that game. But, like Juice says, once the lights are on, players come out. Once starting lineups hit and then once that jump ball happened, I was ready to go. And I kind of, just said, well, you can't run from taking the first one. You let the first one go. See how that goes. First one drops. Second one, I kind of see how Peters was going to play me. Shoot it again. See how that goes. Hit it. And then the third one, Ramel just found me in transition. So I was just thankful that I was able to get us up, 9 points, technically with no legs. That changed the whole game. So, just a total team effort for us.
So, I called Mike. I called you a garbage pail player in the beginning of the game. My early sports doctor-ism. What I meant, obviously, was a lunch pail player, and that you were, and you did a little bit of everything in this tournament. You guys, as the 4 seed, obviously had to upset Ledger, but you scored some, in a game where they needed you to score. You played really tough defense. Talk a little bit about, going into the championship game. Maybe in the semifinal, you play maybe the best game of the tournament from a scoring standpoint, and then you're asked to do something very different in the championship game. Looking back, what do you remember about how your role would change game by game and what you needed to do?
I would just say, like, there was like going into the season, not even the season, like the tournament, like no one expected us to win at all. So I think we all kind of had a chip on it, and like they all said, we loved, like, we all played together.
Wyoming
kids, like, growing up, so we were all going up against them, and Darnay was a fantastic player, and we all just had a good game plan to go against him, and I just came out with a hot start against Ledger and kind of just boosted my confidence up, and I kind of just rode off that, and then headed into the championship game. Confidence was still high from the previous one, and with Marcus coming out and hitting the first three threes he took, like, everyone, I think, just like knew, I feel like, that we were there, like, and we were meant to be here. I think we rode on that, and like, everyone did their part as a team.
Ebo, we look back, and I think you represent this team in a sort of the essence of the team, in that you probably could have been a big scorer on a different team. You could have been a guy who did a lot more offensively on a different team, and on this team, sometimes you'd score, but you really seem to embrace the defensive aspect of things, the small glue plays, I call them, the little things, the good screen, the good defense, the rebounding. You seem to really embrace that, and I think as your career shows, I mean, you certainly could have been a guy that said, "Hey, I want the ball, I can score," and you didn't ask for that. Talk a little bit about how important it was for you to have that role on this team.
Yeah, I think just being on this team with all these talented guys, I just had to figure out my role early if I wanted to win. Like, if I wanted to score all these points and all that, we probably wouldn't have won. So my job was pretty easy. Just get a rebound, give it to Mel, and throw a touchdown pass to somebody. Marcus 3, Desmond layup. So
in that first quarter, it seems like that really was the game plan, because again, when I talk about a flawless first quarter, I mean, Coach, did you guys was that the best quarter of basketball you had played that year?
I don't remember, but just quickly back to Ebo. If you look back to I was watching the Ledyard highlights, just like what you said, Casey, Ebo did everything we needed to do. Like late in the game against Ledyard in the semifinal, they have their vaunted press on. We're up 4, and Ebo throws an absolute dime, a 3/4 court pass to a sprinting Des Miller for a layup, and that gives us the 6-point lead with like 10 seconds left. That's it. Good night. And I've coached teams subsequently that when that press goes on, like that ball starts flying into the atmosphere. So like you hit the nail on the head there, Casey, about Ebo. Everybody had to do what they had to do to their best ability, and that's why this team really came together at the end, because I think it's when you start comparing teams. I know you put Coach Bassett on the spot to compare. It's hard, but I think I could say without a doubt that this team's chemistry was right up there, was locked in with any team that I've been a part of in my 20 years at NFA. I don't remember many days in practice where there was bickering. They just knew what their job was, and they just wanted to win, and they made the most of that. And like you said, we hit those 3-3. Marcus hit those 3 threes at the beginning, and then Woodstock scrapped back into it. But that was enough.
Okay, so I have a question.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Casey up there.
Casey
but
may be frozen.
I kind of just want to ask everybody if they remember, going into this game, I don't think any of us thought that the finals in 2014 were going to be NFA against Woodstock. We all thought it was going to be Ledyard against New London, and I just want to go around and ask everybody if that motivated them at all. Marcus, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, did anyone want to start? Or I guess.
Go ahead,
Mark. All right. Well, for me, I mean, and I think a lot of guys feel like this as well. It was a huge motivating, pushing point for us to want to be in that championship game and win it. Especially, it was just odd to us that the year before we were in the ECC championship game, and a lot of people kind of wrote us off from returning back to the ECC championship game, which kind of threw us for a loop because we felt that we were very talented. We felt like we were probably the toughest team in the league. We felt like we had the most chemistry. So we saw everybody say we couldn't concern ourselves with New London, right? So we knew we were on the side with Ledyard, and we lost to them twice that year in the regular season. We knew what kind of team they were. We knew they were well coached. We knew they had a lot of weapons. So we kind of took, everyone writing us off and kind of jumping to a conclusion and saying, well, it's easily going to be Ledyard in New London. And that fed us. And I think that made us, chase wanting to be there and prove everybody wrong relentlessly. And I think, it did the same thing for Woodstock on their side as well. But definitely gave us a huge chip on our shoulder. And we felt really, really disrespected in a way and wanted to prove everybody wrong. And we knew that we had the camaraderie, the coaching, and the brotherhood to be able to go get that done.
In the world of technology, I am now on my phone as my for some reason I got booted off my home computer. So I apologize for that. Mike, please, by all means, continue the conversation.
Oh, no, Case. I was just asking all the guys if you remember, Case, we all thought that the final that year was going to be Ledyard against New London. And I wondered if they all felt motivated by that. So Marcus just answered, and I just wanted to go around and maybe ask Mel right now if what his thoughts were.
Yeah, like Marcus said, the motivator was, the doubters. Anytime someone doubted us about a win, we took it as fuel, and it made this play actually really good. But we did know before that, we knew we were better than, or we could beat any team in the ECC. And then the last thing I say that motivated us is the environment for sure. Going into the to the Waterford gym is different. If you played in it, you go
For
in,
sure.
and then we played different. We played together since we were young, and everything clicked at the right time.
I was saying earlier about how this year's NFA team was obviously, undefeated and really highly thought of. And I actually found you guys watching this game. I found you guys to be an interesting matchup. I would have loved to have seen those two teams play. Taking a look at this, how closely do you all follow what's going on with, NFA in the current season? Anybody can answer.
I'll start because I know Marcus first off is on that coaching staff. Shout out to the NFA coaching staff: Wes Murphy, Terry Williams, my brother, Coach Juicy. They run a tight ship over there. Camp. There's a whole bunch of them. Anyway, so Marcus, it's hard for you to name. Obviously, you all for it, and everyone should be. But from my perspective, I love to see it. Like I just said, previous players coming back to help. We go back to help in camps. And for the team perspective, I'd say, first off, I feel bad because they didn't get to finish the season. Shout out to them for a perfect season. That's huge. And it sucks that they couldn't finish. But next year they have a bright future. So I love watching NFA basketball, and you never know. One day I might be on that sideline.
Mike, you able to check them out in Wyoming?
Yeah. When I came home for Christmas break, and I was able to go catch a game, and I think just like walking into the gymnasium there, it's just like being home again. Our senior year, we were all so close. Like, we all grew up together, played together. So coming back was awesome, and like they said, felt terrible for the kids. They weren't able to complete their season, but also very excited for them and happy for them. To be able, to at least get to play in Mohegan Sun and win that big game in front of a big crowd. And for Marcus's, first time coach, I think that was awesome. I still keep up with the guys, even though, I'm out here, and hopefully, next year they'll got another shot at it.
Actually, talk a little bit about what got you to Wyoming. I think it's fabulous, Mike, and I think that people would like to hear what got you out to Wyoming.
I wanted to work with kids and give back. So I got a job out here working at a residential treatment facility for at-risk youth. A lot of them rewards at the state. I had terrible childhoods. I have a kid right now in my cottage who, at 3 years old, was found begging food on the side of the road. So I just feel like I want to give back, help them with sports any way. And I enjoy it. We can go outside, play basketball with the kids, go pass a football, just give them some life lessons. That's what kind of brought me. I just wanted some change and wanted to be out where I can snowboard all the time and go hiking. So it's kind of a perfect fit.
Now, I'm pretty sure Ramel grew the beard in the quarantine. Was that beard a requirement of working in Wyoming, or is that something that you had previously?
No, it's something I had previously. In high school, I was like a chin strap, and finally I was able to grow it out when I was in college. So I kind of just had a beard since then. Because if I shave my face, I look like I'm 17, 16 years old. So I don't want to have a baby first.
Pepo, what are you doing these days?
I was supposed to graduate this Saturday from Mitchell.
Congratulations, E.
Feel me?
Yes, sir.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, supposed to get that bachelor's in business, and we just ended my last year with Mitchell basketball too.
Talk a little bit about your experience playing basketball at Mitchell, and put it in perspective. compared to what you experienced when you were at NFA?
I think playing at Mitchell, that's a good question. I think college is different because most of the guys on the team, especially like opponents, or most of them are like all-state guys or leading scorers for whatever high school they went to. I think in high school you might have maybe one or two guys at that level. So I think that's the difference in the speed. Oh, also the shot clock too. It's not a shot clock in Connecticut.
How many people you play in front of at Mitchell?
Oof, like maybe 300 on a good day.
So I mean, because one of the things that I've talked about, this current crop, playing in front of 1,000, 2,000 people in a high school championship game, being broadcast on game day. I mean, for a lot of people, that's it doesn't. I played baseball in college, and the first game I played in college, I played in front of 12 kids. All of them were drinking on the hill. None of them were interested in the baseball game. And this is after, and I remember I'm like, I just played in front of 1,000 people in high school, and now I'm playing in front of these 12 people. Was that a big difference for you? I mean, you played at this elite level in high school, and then you went and played elite basketball in college, but maybe not as much fanfare.
Yeah, it was a big difference because most of the kids at Mitchell just came maybe at halftime if they wanted to see the game. Now, NFA, everyone's in there in the red and white. Maybe some kids dressed up as some farm boys going crazy on the sideline. So that wasn't happening at Mitchell.
So what are you going to do next, man? Congratulations on graduating. I mean, that's a huge honor. When things go back to normal, what are you hoping to do?
I have no clue. I'm trying to open up my options right now. I'm trying to get interviews everywhere. So.
Well, I think Coach Giusti would agree that you're going to succeed at whatever you do. I certainly don't have any doubt about that. Ramel, talk a little bit about what you're up to.
Yeah, so I got my bachelor's degree last May on hospitality. So thank you very much. So that was a big accomplishment for me.
Go Mel.
Let's go.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm just looking at options right now. Job searching. I really want to be a business owner. Not really sure what yet, but from an entrepreneur standpoint, I think I can definitely be successful in that field right there.
Now I'm going to ask Coach Giusti to start this answer, but I would like each of you to think about it while he's answering. So I'll put him on the spot first. I listened to all of you, and all of you have talked about wanting to give back, sort of control your own future, own something, be successful. How much does high school sports and the lessons that you learn in high school sports impact you towards those kinds of goals? And Coach Giusti, as a coach, is that something that you try to instill in your players?
Absolutely. And these guys are being humble. Like they work really. I follow them outside of talking about basketball. I see them all the time. I follow up with them. They work hard, man. They're hard workers. Ramel's works, all the time. He's just a hustler. He just works and grinds and Ebo's, still playing college sports and taking classes. Mike wants to do something, bigger for the world. He wants to help the world, and obviously Marcus is going the education route and, being, a role model right on campus for our young student athletes. So, I mean, that's something that Coach Curlin, that's all the credit and praise goes to Coach Curlin for bringing us up that way. And I'm just following his lead, and you see these guys are doing it right by him.
Ebo, what do you think? Basketball in high school, playing for Coach Curlin, playing for Coach Giusti, and then moving on and playing in college. What do you think that did for you as a person towards the goals that you're heading towards now, the success that you're going for?
Definitely in high school, we believed a lot in trusting the process and on next play. So yeah, I think I brought that into college. I wasn't most games I didn't even play, but I was just thinking about the team. And if I wanted to be selfish and be angry towards Todd P or the other guys and bring the locker room down, I didn't want none of that. I wanted a nice environment in the locker room, and I think that's what I brought.
Marcus, what about you? You going into education, you're coaching, obviously, that started there at NFA.
Yep. Well, I mean, for me, I think, like you said, it started at NFA, and it started with, surrounding myself, or I should say being surrounded, with, people that were older than me that had my best interests and, coached me at life and, cared for me beyond the sports, and the success that we've had, with sports. It was much more than that. And I think NFA is such a special place because, it allowed, not only myself, but others as well to really tap into their full potential and really, see how they can contribute in the world. And as you can see, just, through us players, very small portion of NFA at the time, we're all products of the environment. We all want to help other people. We all want to, build others up to reach their full potential and their destinies. And I think for me, just as far as, with high school sports and, being around, guys like Coach Curl and guys like Coach Juice and, being around great men and guys like, Mel and Mike and Dez and Ebo and the list goes on. I think it being around those guys, only made me a better person and polished, my traits in life. So I think it was much bigger than just the sports, and it's a translation to how we're doing today. So,
Ramel, you want to own a business? I think that's fabulous. Talk a little bit about your experience, championship game, winning the championship, cutting down those nets. Where does that mean to you in where you've gone since?
That means a lot. Like you said, 1,000 to 2,000 people coming in, having it stream. So on top of that, a lot of people watching. So all eyes on you. I've never really been in an environment like that other than the state championship football game, probably, I'd say. But still, it's basketball. No helmets. It's 10 people on the court. It's a little different. So it's definitely for high school. I'd say, if not number one, then definitely top three. But like Marcus said, we're all brothers, and to start not just a season, but to Kelly Middle School, and when we were young, to all the way to high school, and then finally get that ECC championship, it makes it feel much better.
And Coach Juicy will tell you it's not as easy as you guys may have made it look. He waited a while to get that next one. Mike, when you post up one of the kids and throw a little jump hook over them, do you say that's how I did it in the ECC championship game with the Conference? I think Mike's frozen. Wyoming. I just thought he wasn't blinking.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Yeah, he'll come back hopefully.
Jesus.
All right, so Juice, you won it your first year. You had to wait a little while. Talk a little bit about this team and where they rank for you, in terms of the teams you've coached.
Well, I mean, and these guys hit the nail on the head about the brotherhood. On that bench coaching with me in this game that you guys are restreaming, you got Garvin McAllister and Kevin Donovan, who were on the undefeated team in 06-07, coaching these guys, and now you got Marcus coaching the 2019-20 guys. So it's all intertwined at NFA. And like I said, that goes back to Coach Curlin and how he always kept it. It's something bigger than ourselves. On our practice jersey, it says the game's not about me, and we've just tried to follow in that footstep. Now, in terms of who's the more talented team, it's too hard to decide. I mean, what I might try to do, because I saw that Villanova's going to do this, is try to create like a video game simulation. I know that Villanova's going to do the 2016 team against their team. So what I did was I sold my co-teacher, Mr. Pacalo, who's the JV coach at Plainfield. He teaches with me at NFA. He says, we own gold right NCAA 2014 for the Xbox. You go on eBay, it's going for $150. So I sold it. And I picked up a copy of College Basketball 2K8, the last college basketball.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm going to create the 2014 team against the 2020 team. I'm going to stream it. Somehow I got to figure out how to use video games again. and then we'll have the answer virtually, but I'm not answering it by my opinion.
I love that.
It's us. We're bred different.
Listen, what I would say is, if you didn't answer it's you guys wouldn't be champions in the first place. Right. That's what makes you champions. Everybody that wins a championship has that heart that says it's us. And I think that's a testament to your bringing. We're going to wrap it up and head back to the second half so you guys can watch yourselves win that championship. But I'm just going to go right through, and I'd just like for each of you to, and it's absolutely wide open. Anyone you'd want to say, hello to, any thought you want to send out into the world, anything at all. Final thoughts from Ebo Rivera.
Just want to shout out Ty P and Mitchell for giving me my last 2 years of ball over there.
Ramel.
Shout out to the NFA boys basketball team. Mark Jones, head coach of St. Bernard's basketball. He taught me a lot.
Mike? Still frozen. Mike DeMoro.
I just want
just shout out to everyone back. Misses be home this summer. No?
I just want to ask Juice that when he recreates 14 against 20, that the 20 team play the 3-2 zone.
Absolutely.
Because that's the defense. I've been doing this 30 years here now. That's as good a defense as I have ever seen.
I agree.
I'm going to have, my assistants, Terry Williams and Wes Murphy, also former NFA Wildcats. I'll have them help me with the ratings and all that because they know video games better than me. But I really want to do it. I got that idea from that Villanova story, and I was like, that's as good an idea as I've heard in a while. We got no sports to watch. Let's simulate some great Wildcat basketball.
Marcus, 75 shooter, 84 overall. Marcus, final thought.
No way. But no, man, just shout out to, NFA, obviously such a great place. Everybody that was there, that took part in coming to see such a great battle between two good teams. There's a lot of people that, wanted Ledyard in London so bad, but, we Woodstock and NFA also put on a great show and left their mark. So, just shout out to, both programs for coming together and creating a classic, man. And thank you guys for, having us and giving us the opportunity.
Well, I want to say, Marcus, I was one of those people who wanted a New London Ledyard final.
I understand. I really do.
Not only as a Whaler, but from a broadcast standpoint, that's what we thought.
Right.
We do that all the time. We said that's
Absolutely.
The game we want. So I want to shout out to you guys and to that great Woodstock team, because you guys gave us a game day classic. And you won Coach Giusti his first ECC championship. I want to thank you guys, Ebo Rivera, Ramel Williams, Mike Ryan, Marcus Outlow, and Coach Giusti. I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this game day classic and for providing a memory that we will watch for years to come. So I want you to sit back and enjoy the second half and watch you guys bring down the 2014 ECC championship.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Casey. Now, I just wanted to add that we did reach out to Woodstock Academy team from 2014 and invite them to join us. And unfortunately, they got back to us, and unfortunately, the guys were not available tonight. But great memories of both of these teams. Next week, we're going to have the Play for the Cure softball game between Stonington and Waterford from 2017. That was a game that was scheduled this year to happen next week, raising money for childhood cancer. So we're going to bring some players from the current softball teams as well as some softball alums to talk about their memories of Play for the Cure games. Now let's throw it back to Mark Brown and Casey O'Neill for second half.
Still a few minutes away from the start of the third quarter. And Casey, when we started this game, we talked about some of the keys for victory for each team. I want to check in with those now and see how each team is doing.
Well, since NFA is in the lead, we'll start with NFA. And one of their keys to victory was to defend Chris Lowry and not let Chris Lowry take over the basketball game. And until the very, very end, big check mark right there. Marcus Outlow's defense really held Lowry until the very end of the game. Number 2 was get Delia Miller and their other guys to keep on the floor. Now, we saw Ryan and Rivera with some foul trouble, but I would suggest that those are the 2 guys that Coach Giusti would say he's okay with. Delia Miller stayed on the floor and was the second leading scorer for the Wildcats, so a check mark there. And finally, feed the horse, give it to Outlow and let him score. And I think the first 9 points of the game says all we need to know about that. On the other side of things for Woodstock, we said that they needed to bring the cripple and find a way to slow down Outlow. Well, the cape was flying there in the early going. He was leaping tall buildings, but they've settled down and gotten a little bit of on it. And then they wanted to play some in and out. And I think the biggest key in the second half for Woodstock is find a way to get Peters open for some outside shots. He has yet to score and has not made a three-pointer, obviously, in this game.
We did see Woodstock get it in. The in part of that, we saw touches from McGinn and mostly Converse before he picked up the 2 fouls. He had some effectiveness in there. He scored 8 points, but that ball never came out for open looks either, which can give him possible 3. So we'll definitely be looking for that.
Yeah, they had interior success. McGinn, Converse, and Bourgeois all had interior success, but really nothing from the perimeter.
Bourgeois, the leading scorer for Woodstock Academy, he had 10 points, 8 of them in the second quarter. Adam Converse had 8, 6 of them in the first quarter before picking up a second foul early in the second quarter. As for Chris Lowry, didn't score in the first, ends up with 6 points and 3 assists at halftime. So from Norwich Free Academy standpoint, that's clearly under control, and they hope to keep it that way. Delia Miller with 12 leads Norwich Free Academy 11 for Outlow.
Now, we always talk about this. My favorite part of the basketball game, the start of the second half. Find out what adjustments were made by both teams. Foul trouble can come into play. Nobody has more than 2. What are the teams going to do differently starting half number 2?
Well, we're underway now in the third quarter.
And it looks right off the bat that Woodstock is coming out man-to-man. And Delia Miller says, you know what, if you're going to play me man-to-man, I'm going to get to the basket and score, the thing he does best.
Here's Converse with the 2 fouls, gives it back out for Peters.
NFA in man-to-man as well.
McGinn getting the hoop. So a trading of hoops here in the opening minute of the third quarter. Still a 6-point game.
Both teams playing man-to-man, a change from what they did in the first half.
Ramel Williams backs it out and calls out the play.
NFA is very content running slow half-court sets. They will be patient.
Williams in and back out Rivera. Ryan can hit. Rivera crashing the boards, but ripped away by Converse.
Oh, big strong rebound that time from Converse.
Inside McGinn. Couldn't quite finish it.
That would have been a big basket to cut it to 4.
Rivera wants to get a little closer. Tough shot won't go. Converse another rebound. Rivera took it away. The only red jersey in this end of the court among 4 white jersey. He gets the possession for NFA. And now 5 straight misses from 3 for Marcus Outlow, who began the game on a personal 9-0 run with back-to-back-to-back threes. Lowry tries a 3. Here comes Williams. Sets up Ryan running the floor. Count the basket. And he'll have a chance for a three-point play.
Looks like that one's going to be on McGinn. But an ugly sequence right there. Outlow is ice cold right now, but we know he's going to keep shooting. A great job by Ramel Williams getting the ball to Ryan in transition after Lowry missed his.
No good on the free throw for Ryan, who now has 8 points. He's been a very effective third option tonight offensively for NFA. Last night he had to be the second option with D'Elia Miller saddled with foul trouble.
NFA this time's got Outlow on Peters. Very physical matchup for Peters.
Peters still looking for a field goal. Rivera gives it back out for Outlow. Going at Bourgeois, lost it. McGinn collects it and gives to Lowry. 5 minutes to go in the third. They are extending to Peters. He doesn't have much room on those threes. Bourgeois takes it strong to the hole, and a foul will go against Desmond D'Elia Miller. This his second foul.
And it's going to be, he's going to have to watch that because Bourgeois can draw fouls in a hurry. Very physical getting to the basket. Peters in the semifinal against New London stepped into a three-pointer and drained 2 3-pointers with real confidence. His threes have been a little tentative tonight because of that physical defense.
First free throw good for Bourgeois, who has 11. That's the leading scorer in the game for Woodstock Academy. Peters produced 17 points in that semifinal victory over New London. Scoreless so far in this one. Bourgeois has them both for a dozen. 6-point lead for NFA. They've never trailed in this one after the 9-0 start.
Bourgeois back on Outlow.
Outlow behind the screen, now to the baseline. Ball tipped around, and McGinn was bumped. If it's Ryan, and it is, it's 3.
Now foul trouble just starting to creep into the equation. Miller's got 2, Ryan's got 3, and we'll see Crooks back into the ball game for Ryan. So fouls just now to where Coach Chris Giusti has to kind of manage his bench a little bit.
4.5 minutes to go in the third. Here's Converse back out for Bourgeois. Bourgeois trying to find an opening. Gives to Converse.
Nice touch.
Converse now with 10, joining Bourgeois, who has 12, has 2 Centaurs now in double digits. Back to a 4-point game. D'Elia Miller. Rebound McGinn.
Momentum is definitely shifting right now.
Lowry spinning in the lane. Great defense from Ramel Williams. Williams will slow it down and call it out.
Right now, NFA has to settle. They've been a little out of control on the offensive end. Outlow cold from the floor.
He's made just 1 basket since starting the game with the 3 consecutive threes. Out high. Screen on either side. They switch it. Ramel Williams. A long possession here for NFA, but not a bad thing for them. Outlaw hesitation move between 2 defenders. Oh, he squeezed it up with the left hand.
I was just going to say that Woodstock has turned Outlaw into a jump shooter, and Outlaw's shot more free throws than anybody else on the NFA team because he goes to the basket so well. Heads up, just a headsy player by getting to the basket. He knows he's cold.
Peters finally hits from downtown.
Pay attention to that one. 2:43. Peters hits his first. Let's see if they can get him on a little bit of roll.
Scoreless until almost 2 minutes to go in the third. McGinn nearly picked the pocket of D'Elia Miller, who will use a timeout. So a 3-point game. This is as close as it's been really all game long.
Yeah, a couple things we saw that I think will make this a fascinating game as we move forward. Outlow was content shooting jump shots, both good and bad. And we know he gets to the basket because he shoots so many foul shots and he's a good foul shooter. Having the presence of mind to know he's not shooting the ball well, get to the basket. That's going to be the offensive trend for NFA. Watch moving forward. Outlow's going to get to the basket. On the other side of things, Peters gave up the three, waited for the defenders to go into a switch, and while they were in the middle of the switch, shot the three, buried it. If in baseball they say sometimes a little flare single can break the slump, if that jump shot can get Peters into a shooting rhythm, then Woodstock can get points in a hurry.
NFA ball underneath, all the way out to Rivera. Outlow. That ball hit the support above the basket on the rebound, so it will go over to Woodstock. This is as close as the game has been since 3-0.
Yeah, Woodstock is going to sag on Outlow now. They're going to leave him with jump shots until he starts to make them again. They're not going to let him get to the basket because they know he's struggling from the outside right now.
Lowry with Outlow on him. McGinn, big man out away from the basket. Last touch by Woodstock.
Great job by Rivera that time, slapping the ball off of Converse. We know Rivera is a hustle machine. Evidence that time, never gave up on the play.
Converse and McGinn, two big men who worked so well together. Didn't happen that time. McGinn really kind of dribbling right to where Converse was. Minute 45 to go in the third.
See if Outlow tries to get to the basket this time.
Draws three defenders. Back out for D'Elia Miller. 90 seconds to go in the third quarter. 3-point lead for NFA. They've led by 11 on a few occasions. Ramel Williams. Drabinski. Outlow. Hounded by Bourgeois.
They are going to turn him into a jump shooter. They are collapsing and not letting him get to the basket.
Ramel Williams. Floater. Oh! Ramel Williams does not shoot it much, but that was a sweet thing.
Absolutely, and that was a very confident shot. He looked like a scorer on that play.
Back to a 5-point NFA lead. Bourgeois. Pull up. D'Elia Miller. Great job. Rebound in traffic. Now, in transition. Gets it down again. 16 for the senior.
His length is a real problem. Athletic, he gets to the basket so well. Right now, we got to see Woodstock get a clean look for Peters.
Catch and shoot, way off. Bourgeois drawing the foul. We'll see who that's on.
I think it's going to be on Rivera. Nope.
They'll get Drabinski.
I think they got lucky. I think they got away with one there.
It would have been the third on Rivera, who picked up his second in the first quarter. So Bourgeois back at the free throw line. Making a living there today. 13 points. Incredibly valuable player for the Centaurs. 13.5 points. That's the second leading scorer on the team. But 7 rebounds a game, too. That's 6 feet. 6-point game final, 15 seconds of the third quarter. ECC, boys basketball championship game. NFA has controlled it throughout. Outlaw. Wild shot, won't go. And that basket will be waved off just a fraction late after the third quarter buzzer. So just 8 minutes of basketball left in the ECC Boys Basketball Tournament. NFA has led this one wire to wire. They're 8 minutes away from an ECC championship. But Woodstock Academy has their sights set on it as well. This is Game Day Live on theday.com.
Hi, my name is Chuck Banning, and I've been a member of the Day Sports Department for the last 25 years, and the last 19 as sports editor. I'm proud to lead a staff of people that really care what they're doing, are locked into their community, and it's never been more evident than in the last 7 weeks since the sporting world came to a complete halt. You know, I look back to March 10th. That was a day that the high school state basketball tournaments were stopped immediately. Reminded me of back to Aiden Using, an old Lyme senior, who told us in a story for the next day's paper that it's kind of unusual to find out that the last high school basketball game you'll ever play, comes through a text, and that's how he found out. And that's how we all found out. A friend of mine said that weekend, what the heck are you going to put in your sports pages? Well, I think you've seen, since the pandemic has become full blown, that we've, kept our readers informed, but we've also tried to inspire you. We brought you the story of Brittany Solar from Stonington, a multi-sport athlete who is now a pediatric doctor in New York City and has been in the front lines. We also told you a story about Nate Kozlowski, a multi-sport athlete at Bacon Academy, who is now a pediatric nurse in the COVID ICU at St. Francis Hospital in Hartford. And I think one that really hit home, Mike DeMoro did a column on the Meba sisters of East Lyme, who are both healthcare workers at different New York City hospitals. This was really done more through the eyes of their mom, Carmen, who was really worried about them and everybody in New York City, obviously. And through Mike's column, she received over 1,000 people that wanted to donate masks, including an East Lyme graduate who works in the business world in Oregon, who had masks shipped directly to the hospitals involving their daughters. That showed us that we certainly make a difference. I hope you feel like we do, that newspapers, and the Day in particular, are really relevant in our community. And if you would like to help us out in any way possible, we'd appreciate it by subscribing to the Day in print or online, or making a donation online to help the newsroom remain functional through a difficult time.
They've told us, come on down to Philomena's after the game. They'll expect a big overflow crowd coming from this ECC championship game. Fourth quarter is underway. Woodstock with the ball, but trailing by 3 versus NFA. Mark Brown along with Casey O'Neill, Dave Edgecombe with us, roaming the sidelines. More great defense from NFA there as they force the turnover.
Yeah, we know NFA can play defense.
This foul on the floor on the drive from Outlow. It'll go against Will Bourgeois. His second.
We know NFA can play lockdown defense. They are a very difficult team to score against in the half court. On the other side of things, Outlow looking like he wants to try to assert some control and get to the basket.
Ramel Williams plays a little catch with Mike Ryan. Ryan screens for Outlow. Outlow inside. Blocked by Converse. Diving for the loose ball. Ryan looking for a timeout, and he'll get one for NFA. Was heading for a held ball situation.
I think Coach Chris Giusti's looking for a foul on the Outlow drive, but Outlow approached that drive like he was trying to, like it was a 3rd and 3 on the football field. He was trying to get the first down. He just put his head down and his shoulder along with it. I think it was a good no call against the Woodstock big men.
So Chris Giusti using this timeout. Wasn't expecting to call it, but the game situation called for Ryan to bail himself out.
So down 6, 7-11 remaining in this game. We've talked about it. Where are the Woodstock points going to come from? Peters has got to be involved. Trent Peters has been very quiet tonight, only the 1 3-pointer. And on the other side of things, Delia Miller has gotten to the basket regularly since Outlow's gotten cold. Both of these teams can become very sort of methodical in how they go about things, almost to the point where they get out of rhythm by getting maybe a little bit too deliberate with what they do.
It'll be NFA ball underneath. And they'll go all the way out into the backcourt to D'Elia Miller, who's 16 points, and the game leads all scorers. What a bounce-back game he's had. And he's going right to the hole. Oh, the finger roll just comes out. Great drive, couldn't finish. Lowry, Converse. Now back in the hands of Lowry. His effect has been muted today by the NFA defense. Ryan, the defensive rebound.
Bourgeois, same thing. A little out of control, just recklessly going to the basket. He's got to look for an open man.
And a foul out front on Trent Peters. Been very few fouls called in this game. No bonus situation ever occurred in the first half.
No, we've been buzzing by in this thing so far. Only 3 fouls apiece so far here, in this, all the way 6:30 in the quarter. Only 16 fouls in the entire game.
Each team with 3 team fouls with 6.5 minutes to go. In a hotly contested game with aggressive defense, very few fouls. What a backdoor pass from Williams, but Outlow couldn't finish.
I think Converse went up and got a piece of that.
Might have. Lowry, a foul on the drive. And it's going to be against Ebo Rivera, his third. So the top 2 big men up front for NFA, each with 3 fouls. Not terrible, 6:15 to go. For now, they will stay in the game. Lowry hits the free throw. Only 7 points in the game.
He's been, again, dubbed the best point guard in the state by his coach. 6 minutes remaining here. If they want to cut the nets down, he needs to take over, get to the basket, and get his teammates involved. Everything runs through Lowry.
8 points for him. Averages just over 12. His great value is as the handler, the press breaker, the incredible distributor. But that NFA team defense has limited that effectiveness tonight. Ramel Williams working on Peters. Outlow cutting in the lane. Converse may have been a bump early, then the block up top. Outlow not going to get that call at the moment. Lowry was blocked on the way in. D'Elia Miller gets to the left hand, finds Outlow, up fake, puts it in, but Greg Keith is going to wave this one off, calling the foul on the floor. So no chance for a 3-point play here. And the foul will go against Bourgeois.
Yeah, that's a great job by Outlow. He has been trying to force contact on every time he's gotten to the basket, and they have not been calling it. That time, head fake, let the defender come on top of him. Very heads-up play, drawing Bourgeois' third.
Mike Ryan, the big man, stepping out, catch and shoot. That's 2 catch and shoots off inbounds plays in this game that Ryan's converted. Back to a 6-point lead.
He may not be their MVP, but he has certainly played big in these ECC tournament semifinals and finals.
Averages 5 points a game on the year, double digits now in both the semis and the final. That's coming up big. Great drive from McGinn, who finishes with the left hand. He has 7.
It's just so wonderful to see someone who's so comfortable with both hands going to both sides of the basket.
D'Elia Miller, he loves his left hand, and why not? Look at that, gets to the hole again. He's got 18, and the lead's back up to 6.
And the way he slashes to the basket, it's so hard to get your feet set and draw a charge. He's always at an angle. He knifes into that interior and always seems to just be on the side of you.
Good stuff there from Lowry. Gets in the lane, hits the pull-up. He's now got 10, cuts it back to 4, but this is where Woodstock has run up against the wall. 4 on several occasions, 3 on one occasion, and no further.
And you can see that the two teams sense that we're heading down the stretch here. The level of play and the intensity is starting to slowly pick up. We are heading down the stretch.
D'Elia Miller, the drive again. Defense collapses, and a held ball is called. And possession arrow belongs to Red.
Great job that time by Woodstock, though. Delia Miller has been eating them up, getting to the basket. That time, hands got on the basketball, forcing the tie-up.
Again, they got to go all the way to the backcourt. Outlow nearly had it knocked away by Lowry, who played defensive back that time. 4 minutes to go.
Outlow's going to try to get to the basket.
Spins in the lane. Got it up on the rim. 2 free throws coming for him. Who's the foul on? 22 White, John McGinn. His second foul. So Woodstock Academy's been able to stay out of foul trouble throughout this game. Converse had 2 early in the second, but hasn't picked up another one.
In the semifinals, we saw a lot of success from Ledgerd. They jumped out on help defense whenever Outlow tried to isolate on his man. That time, Woodstock sagged back and Outlow took Lowry to the basket. Academy needs to send somebody out and stop the dribble of Outlow up top.
2 beautiful strokes from Outlow to give him 15 and push the lead back up to 6. McGinn on top. Now it's Bourgeois. Oh, the foul on Delia Miller. That's his third.
Yeah, I think Delia Miller went over the back a little bit, made a little bit of contact with the body. He definitely had all ball in the shot, sending Bourgeois, a good foul shooter, to the line.
Bourgeois, 13 points. That's the leading number for Woodstock Academy today. It's also his average, now 14. Lowry with 10 and Converse with 10. The other 2 Centaurs in double digits. Norwich Free Academy has 3 players in double digits. Delia Miller, 18. Outlow, 15. Mike Ryan, 10. Second's good.
What I'd like to see is Lowry drive and have Peters with an opportunity to shoot the ball. Woodstock, full court pressure. We saw NFA struggle with this in the semifinals, but they broke it there easily. Woodstock not a pressure team traditionally.
Once again, a 4-point game. Woodstock needs a stop here. Delia Miller saved the turnover. Going against Lowry. Good help from Converse. Lowry up ahead. Bourgeois in traffic. Taken back by Outlow. Lost it out of bounds, but it will remain NFA ball with 3:10 to play.
Credit Ramel Williams. First of all, great heads-up play from Chris Lowry trying to go long to Bourgeois. But Ramel Williams, the cornerback in football, he's a football quarterback, and he played it like that. Went in and disrupted the pass, and then the ball out of bounds in NFA. What a great play from Ramel Williams.
Here's more pressure. Going long, Delia Miller on the sideline. Now attacks. Knocked away by Lowry, but a foul on the senior point guard.
NFA players and fans starting to sense it as time ticks down. They're staying in control, never relinquishing the lead.
Woodstock Academy wants a timeout. Greg Smith in his 6th season with a state championship in Class L from last year, but looking for an ECC tournament championship. Boy, they are going to have to win a tough battle over these last 2 minutes, 59 seconds. And they've battled back just to get here. You talked about that haymaker that was delivered, the 9-0 run by Marcus Outlow to start this game. Since that point, Woodstock Academy has gotten the better of the action. They've cut it to 4, but this is where they keep hitting the wall.
Yeah, one academy versus the other academy. It's an academy battle. And the 2 academies that share one thing in common among others, ultra highly competitive. They are not always pretty, but both of these 2 teams have found ways to win ugly. Right now, NFA has that 4-point advantage. Woodstock is trying to win ugly, and NFA is just trying to hold on. But I can promise you that as this thing goes down the stretch, it is going to become more physical, it is going to become more chaotic, and I don't think we've seen the last of the ugly.
Each of these teams will take win and ugly any day of the week. Championship on the line here. Desmond D'Elia-Miller at the free throw line. 71% free throw shooter. Gets the first one. Now 19 points in the game to lead all scorers. But more importantly, has pushed the lead up to 5 points for the Wildcats. Got them both. Lowry calls out the play. Outlow will guard him. Bourgeois curling off a screen, lost it. Outlow has it.
Key turnover that time for Woodstock. They need possessions.
Outlow to the basket. Leads for Ryan. Blocked from behind. Ball bounced out of bounds off the leg of Rivera. So it will be Woodstock Academy basketball.
Well, I'll tell you, as we head into the state tournament after this, Woodstock and L and NFA and double L are not the kind of opponent that anybody wants to see.
Lowry tried the wraparound pass. It was knocked away. Woodstock Academy will have the ball underneath. 2:28 to go.
Hard-nosed, good defensive teams, scrappy, point guards.
Converse misses the jump hook. Rivera the rebound. Oh, he misfired on the way to Williams. Bourgeois still after it. Outlow comes up with it. Another stop from NFA. The NFA chant starting from the student section. Ramel Williams. Rivera takes baseline. Somehow it wouldn't go down. Rebound him again. Under 2 minutes to go. What a block from Mike Ryan as he sent Lowry's layup into the first row.
Great weak side help that time. Ryan stepped over. That's an authority block. I keep saying it over and over again. Trent Peters has got to get the ball in his hands and get some threes off here. Woodstock otherwise just cannot mount a comeback.
McGinn. Oh, tough shot off the window. Chance for a three-point play. He can cut the lead in half with 1:47 to go.
And that's the fourth foul on Mike Ryan. That's huge with 1:47 remaining. Ryan, who has been their rock, their offensive third scorer and their great interior defender, with 4.
McGinn is a 62% free throw shooter. A chance to get it back to 3. Oh, somehow it doesn't go. Converse fighting. And lost it out of bounds.
Tough one. He never had possession, so he couldn't call a timeout, just helplessly falling out of bounds without the basketball.
Full court pressure from Woodstock Academy. Rivera has it knocked away. Converse takes it. Blocked by Rivera, but a foul. That's his 4.
Yeah, both of the big men now with 4. Momentum shifting a little bit, heading over to Woodstock. We saw NFA in the semifinal struggle tremendously with the Ledger pressure. This is the first time we've really seen Woodstock put the pressure on. NFA has to figure out a way to break that.
Adam Converse, the only junior in the starting lineup for Woodstock, has the first.
Free throws will become crucial in both directions as both teams are heading into the bonus.
Can't get the second one, so they hit the wall at 3 again. Does Woodstock up ahead? D'Elia-Miller decides the clock's more important. D'Elia-Miller. All game long, he would have taken it right to the rim. Now, burning clock. Inside a minute and a half to go on a 3-point lead.
Remember, Ramel Williams, the point guard, not a great foul shooter. He's the guy you want to foul.
Trouble on the sideline. It was tipped by Woodstock Academy. So with 1:18 to go, on the side still NFA basketball.
You don't see point guard shooting at the percentage that Ramel Williams does. That's going to be the guy that they're going to look to foul.
Greg Smith calling a timeout, electing for a full timeout here as they set up their defense. NFA will inbound in front of their own bench on the side with 1:18 to play.
What I want to see just from a pure drama we talked about in the pregame, the moments that occur. I want to see Lowry find Peters with an opportunity to tie the game up with a 3. And then on the other direction, I want Outlow with his ball in the hands, taking the final shot of the game. I think that's for the drama of the game. I want Peters with a chance to tie it with an open look, and I want Outlow with the final shot of the game.
You know, you can't order up made-to-order drama.
No.
We've had plenty of drama.
Yeah.
But that would certainly be something that would have a whole lot of pressure. It's felt like crunch time every minute of this game. We're clearly in crunch time with 1:18 to go, but these guys have battled very, very tough. I haven't seen any back down from anybody.
2 timeouts apiece for the teams respectively, 1:18 remaining. Woodstock already in the bonus. NFA will be on the next foul. Don't want to foul D'Elia Miller. You do want to foul Ramel Williams.
Rivera gets it into Outlow, who's double teamed immediately. And the foul on Woodstock's Adam Converse. That's his 3rd, and a bonus situation here. So we have gotten to the bonus. It's taken us to the final minute almost of the game to do so. And Marcus Outlow will go to the free throw line. 69% shooter on the season.
That gets all thrown out the window when you are a performer of his caliber, and it's crunch time.
And he's got the front end. 4-point lead. 16 in the game. He and D'Elia Miller have stepped up and produced exactly the way that they've been expected to as the leading scorers on this team. Got them both.
Ice water in the veins of Marcus Outlow. He's not the guy you want at the line either.
Lowry. Bourgeois, been quiet lately. Trying to make some room inside. Rebound Rivera. And Bourgeois or McGinn committing the foul there.
Now, that foul's going to be on Bourgeois, and that's going to be his 4th, which is a big one for Woodstock. But the right guy is at the line. If you're Woodstock, this is the guy you want at the line. Ibo Rivera, not even a 40% foul shooter, 36% from the line, and this is a 1-and-1 situation.
We'll see how the 6'3.5" senior, role player, glue guy, can't hit. So misses the front end with a minute to go. A 5-point lead for NFA. Marcus Outlow picked Lowry's pocket and goes in for the layup. 50 seconds to go, and the NFA lead is up to 7.
Oh, Superman did it again.
Ball tipped out of bounds. Stays with Woodstock, but that could be the moment that sealed this game.
2 foul shots, a steal, and a layup. Ladies and gentlemen, I think he was pretty much the consensus choice for the ECC Boys Basketball Player of the Year, but certainly that was the MVP play of the tournament thus far.
Held ball situation in the lane. Possession arrow to Woodstock. 40 seconds. This has to be the greatest 40 seconds of Woodstock's season in order to pull this one out. Converse in the lane. Surrounded. Peters fakes and fires. Bourgeois keeps it alive. Peters will try again. Converse saves it. All kinds of contact in there as Bourgeois hits the deck, pumps out a couple of push-ups as well. The foul will go against Ramel Williams, and it'll be Bourgeois to shoot 1-and-1.
Well, Peters had the looks. He had the looks we talked about. Just couldn't get him to go down, and a lot of time ran off the clock that time. Too much time. Time becoming the enemy for Woodstock. 20 seconds remaining.
So Bourgeois now with 16 points. Looks to cut the lead to 5. NFA is almost all the way home. This is the 10th championship game that Chris Giusti has led NFA to. They've only won 2 of their previous 9, so he feels that there's been a lot left on the table in those 10 appearances. They're in a position to close it out for number 3 now.
Well, you know, Chris Giusti, the longtime assistant for Neil Curlin, this is his first run at it. And what a testament it would be to the program that Neil Curlin created, that Chris Giusti was with 14 years he's been with Neil Curlin. What a testament to that program if in their first year under Chris Giusti they can win that championship. So many finals they lost to New London. This year they got in on their own, different opponent with a chance to win their first one. Now, Woodstock has to foul either Ramel Williams or Ebo Rivera. I'll be curious to see if Ebo Rivera is even on the floor. If Chris Giusti doesn't put in somebody who can shoot the ball better. They need to be able to break pressure, and they need foul shooters on the floor right now.
5-point lead, 20.2 seconds to go.
Rivera 36%, Ramel Williams 46%. Those are the guys you want to foul. DeLiam Miller's their best at 71%, but Ryan at 70 and Outlow at 69, certainly not the guys you want to foul.
Rivera to inbound, so it won't go to him. They won't be able to foul him. But he can't quite get it in. They got a foul or just out of bounds here. Just knocked out of bounds. It stays with NFA. Less than a second came off the clock.
They get to reset pressure now. I like Converse on the inbounds. There's the guy to foul.
They get it to Williams. They don't get the foul. Now they finally do. It goes on Converse. It'll be his 4th. 4 seconds ran off the clock, so 15.8. And Ramel Williams, the 46% free throw shooter, will go to the line to try to add to this 5-point advantage.
We saw him make some big foul shots down the stretch of the semifinals. No bigger foul shots than these here for Ramel Williams.
Oh, and he hits the front end. The senior point guard. Not counted on for his scoring, more his defense and his floor generalship. It's a big free throw to make it a 6-point game. And now 7.
He's a senior. Senior leaders, gotta love him.
Lowry the drive, scoop shot goes in, but only 8.4 seconds left when Woodstock uses the timeout.
Nobody's heading for the exits though, I love it. Centaur Nation still on their feet. Wildcat Nation still on theirs. 8 seconds remaining in a 5-point game. It's gonna take something a little crazy, but we've seen crazier, so Woodstock's going to have to try to foul. They had the right guy that time. If I were Woodstock, I would double team DeLiam Miller, and I would not guard Ebo Rivera at all. I would let Ebo Rivera catch the basketball and foul him because, yeah, that's your best percentage to see a missed foul shot. Williams was the next option, and we saw how calmly he drained his two.
Well, the NFA student section can barely contain themselves right now. 8.4 seconds left to what they feel is going to be a big celebration of a Wildcat ECC championship. So NFA ball. Rivera will inbound, so he won't be able to be fouled in play. Smart move. Oh, now they'll throw it out of bounds to Outlow, and they get it into the hands of DeLiam Miller, so an excellent play there.
Chalk one up to Chris Giusti that time. He had his worst foul shooter inbounding it, and they did a little trickaroo to get it to their best foul shooter. I mean, that's the definition of coaching right there. Great job.
Outlow stepped back out of bounds, received the out of bounds pass from Rivera, and then made the easy entry to their best free throw shooter.
This is a big one here. Two possession game. He had a chance to make it a 3-possession game, but it will stay a 2-possession game.
He's got the second. So Lowry, as the final seconds tick away, will launch a 3. Put back McGinn, but too little too late. Norwich Free Academy has won the ECC championship.
Well, it's a sea of red as the Wildcats storm the field or the court. Pandemonium in the Francis Sweeney Gymnasium at Waterford High School as the Wildcats are going to cut the nets down. Here at Waterford High School, a valiant effort from the Woodstock Academy Centaurs, but it was the NFA Wildcats. The senior leading team, Marcus Outlow, player of the year perhaps, Desmond D'Elia Miller, Mike Ryan, Ebo Rivera, Ramel Williams, seniors, all champions.
Well, this was just as big a physical war as we thought it would be. Very tough defense. Points inside, drives were tough to come by. And in the end, NFA just a little bit tougher. 9-0 is what Woodstock Academy got down. And they spent the entire game trying to claw their way back. They did. They just could not get all the way back.
Yeah, you know, they got off the canvas. You give them credit for that, but you're right. Getting down 9-0, all the momentum, and they just struggled and struggled and struggled, and it was wire to wire for NFA. They never relinquished that lead. And what a great tribute to the senior leadership of the Norwich Free Academy Wildcats. Chris Giusti leading them to his first ECC championship. Ramel Williams, the senior point guard, heady, big foul shots, always knows where he is with the basketball. Desmond D'Elia Miller getting to the basket, leading them in scoring. Ebo Rivera doing a little bit of everything, the rebounding, the defense. Mike Ryan, the senior center who we saw scoring, rebounding, and of course, player of the year, Marcus Outlow.
Well, the celebration is already underway. Let's go to Dave Edgecombe with the champions. Dave?
Thanks, Mark. NFL Wildcats, ECC champs. Haven't been able to say that in a while. Coach, how's it feel?
Feels great. I'm glad I didn't mess it up for these guys. They deserved it. They're warriors. Ramel Williams is probably 50%. He played a great, gutty game, buried those 2 free throws to ice it. I'm so proud of him. Like I said, I'm glad I just didn't mess it up. So talk to them.
Marcus, you came out gangbusters in the start, cooled off a little bit, but ultimately you guys prevailed. What's a win like this mean for you guys heading into the double L?
Crazy, man. It's a lot of momentum going our way. Positive momentum, obviously, man. And we're looking forward to the double L, the States. You know, we're going to get a day off tomorrow, thank God. And we're just so blessed, man, to come out here and make the run we made. You know, winning 7 straight now, it's just huge. And my whole team, man, they all deserved it. You know, I didn't have my best game tonight, but that's not even the point, man. Everyone picked each other up, and everyone played a phenomenal game, and we all deserve this win.
Guys, great win. Continue to celebrate. Good luck in the double L. Mark, Casey?
All right, thanks very much, Dave. So Marcus Outlow didn't have his best game, right? He did a great job neutralizing Chris Lowry for much of that game. He scored 19 points. And though the game went on for another 31 minutes, that opening minute salvo of back-to-back-to-back threes is something that Woodstock Academy, in the end, could never recover from.
Yeah, you know, Outlow's most important points were the first 9 and the last 2. The first 9 that he made set the tone for everything. The last 2 he made was off the steal, which sort of iced it for NFA. So he played big early and he played big late, which is, you know, what champions do.
And as great as that was, it didn't even lead NFA in scoring. It was Desmond D'Elia Miller who felt he had to answer for something. He didn't have a great game in the semifinals. His team pulled him through. Well, today, aggressive, attack mode, 21 points was the game high score.
Well, we told you in the pregame one of the keys to victory for NFA was going to be to get Desmond D'Elia Miller into things and keep him on the floor. They did that, and a credit to him. You could see body language right from the very beginning. Attack, attack, attack. He kept getting to the basket, and D'Elia Miller, when he scores, they become a much more dangerous basketball team.
The ECC All-Tournament team being announced at the moment. It's deserving recipients, Will Bourgeois and Chris Lowry from Woodstock Academy, taking their team to the brink, but they couldn't quite bring them all the way over the edge. Norwich Free Academy, just too much for him. Desmond D'Elia Miller, a no-brainer after this performance in the final tonight. Marcus Outlow as well, and Mike Ryan, who had back-to-back double-digit games. Great interior defense as well. That's your all-tournament team.
And as we expected, Marcus Outlow, MVP. I think he's MVP of the league, MVP of the tournament, and maybe the most valuable player that NFA has seen in its institution in a long, storied history of great players, because he has been the rock in 2 sports for them, leading them to all kinds of good things. There's your all-tournament team, folks, and a tournament that it was.
Marcus Outlow, a quarterfinal buzzer-beating 3 to defeat 5-seed Waterford. 24 points in the semifinal victory over 1-seed Ledyard. And then 19 more points and a tremendous all-around performance in the championship game. That's definitely MVP type production.
Now these 2 teams aren't done. You know, can't rest on your laurels now, because we saw the NFA girls win an ECC championship and get bounced in the second round of the girls tournament to a very gritty E.O. Smith team. Now the NFA boys have to head into double L, and that's going to put a little bit of a target on their chest. They're not going to sneak up on anybody in double L. They won the ECC, and that means a lot. Woodstock has a state championship that they have to defend.
Absolutely. Woodstock will join the upper bracket in Class L as the number 5 seed. Their first game will be Monday when they host 28 seed Brantford. As for NFA, they'll take this ECC championship trophy and their 18-6 record. They are the 15 seed in the lower bracket of the double L. Their first opponent, 18 seed Cheshire. Remember, the records that are used for the seedings don't include anything that you do with these 3 victories on their way to the ECC title. They were a 14-6 regular season team, and that's the number that gets the seeding in the CIAC. So probably a pretty solid 15 seed as they enter the Class double L.
I wouldn't want to play NFA right now. They've got a star player. They've got momentum. They've got seniors. I'm very curious to see what kind of noise they can make in double L. And of course, no one saw Woodstock coming last year, and they won a state championship in L. So both these teams with bright things in the state tournament coming up.
So we will take a quick break here on Game Day Live on theday.com as Norwich Free Academy continues to celebrate their ECC championship. Well, as the Norwich Free Academy Wildcats go through this incredible ceremony, the cutting down of the nets, they are the ECC boys basketball champions after their 58-54 victory over Woodstock Academy. Casey, this is our final Game Day Live on theday.com broadcast for this basketball season. It's been a great one, and what a way to end it tonight with a championship performance by NFA.
Yeah, we've had quite a run, and fittingly, here in the final, we got ourselves a good basketball game, and you talked about moments in the pregame. This is the kind of thing you never forget. These kids will have that piece of net forever and ever, and they will never forget getting up on the ladders at Waterford High School.
Yeah, pause for a moment to think about what the Woodstock Academy Centaurs left out on the floor. That's the other half of the story, the other memories. They had a chance to play for a title, and that never leaves you either.
No, it doesn't. And it's a good thing they won that state championship last year, because that's going to be their thing that they hold on to. An irony of sorts that they have a state championship and have no conference championship to go along with it. They had multiple opportunities, but couldn't quite climb the mountain. They ran into a very hot and challenging NFA team who was determined, and Woodstock's going to have to make their run in the state tournament like they did last year.
So Greg Smith's Centaurs, you watch them play, and we've had the privilege of watching them several times. A great team that plays great together. And remember, hey, they didn't win this title last year, and the season worked out pretty darn well for them. So we look for things in the CIAC from the Centaurs.
I don't know if they've got enough to win a state championship. They're not quite as good as they were last year, but in any one game or any 2 games, they are going to be a tough out, because we know that they've got a senior point guard, they've got some scoring, they've got some inside guys that can do some things around the basket. They are going to be difficult, and don't anybody in the L tournament take them lightly, because I wouldn't want to play them in L. They can do a lot of different things.
And if anybody's still hungry, they're open late at Philomena's for a little ECC tournament celebration.
I want you, if you're listening right now, or you're watching, as it were, I want you to go to Philomena's, and if it's Mike Bassetto is there or Billy Bassetto is there, I want you to go to either of them, and I want you to say, listen, I was watching theday.com, and they said, as a matter of fact, Casey said that if I go down to Philomena's, you guys will take good care of us. That's what I want you all to do. I want you to go down there and tell the Bassetto boys you heard about it on theday.com.
And then go buy a car at MJ Sullivan tomorrow and insure it with Geico. That'll just about do it. A 58-54 victory today for NFA over Woodstock Academy in the ECC championship game in our final Game Day live on theday.com telecast of this basketball season. For Casey O'Neill, Dave Edgecombe, and our spectacular crew at Game Day Live at theday.com, I'm Mark Brown. So long for now from Waterford.